Greetings, everyone. I'm Absolute Zero, and today's video is going to be about the 360 flip, but we're going to be looking at it in a different way. Now, 360 flips, in a general sense, when someone does a 360 flip, like the average standard 360 flip, what tends to happen is the back foot will usually it'll scoop during the scooping motion. The foot will scoop, and then it'll come this way a little. It'll come this way, and it'll kind of stay that way. And what'll tend to happen is when someone does a 360 flip, is they will generally jump forward, and I don't mean forward in the sense that you're still riding in a straight motion, but more jumping forward in a hopscotch type of way. So someone will 360 flip, the board will flip, and they'll land over here. Instead of they started here, they'll land here. I don't know if you can still see that or if you can see the board, but they generally you should know what I mean by that. Like it's a general. If I'm facing this way, I'm gonna jump forward. Now, there's two ways. There's two basically directions in which a board will scoop or flip, and if anybody knows, it's all about the x and y axis. Now, on the x-axis, if I'm facing you, the x-axis will be this way, whereas the y-axis will be this way. This is generally a very basic um, piece of information that we all learn in school. But if it's something you don't really think about very often, or if you forgot, yeah, there's the x and y axis, and our skateboards operate on this x and y axis. It's all about the x and y axis. So generally, when someone's scooping a 360 flip, instead of being more on the y-axis as it's scooping, it's going to be more towards the x-axis as it scoops. So obviously, the more on the y-axis it's on, it's more vertical, and the more on the y-axis it scoops and flips, it's going to be a more straightforward motion instead of that hopscotching, jumping forward motion that I just described. So why am I mentioning this? Well, it's because the way I do my three flips, it's a front foot catch three flip. That means the back foot scoops, but then I kick it out and I try to keep it out. And usually that's the kind of style I go for is I try to kick my foot out, my back foot will straighten out and it'll stay out until the front foot catches the board first, and then it comes on and lands on the board. And that's pretty much the perspective I'm trying to basically come across with, is that a lot of people will do a standard 360 flip, but then if you're like me, you're an individual that's not enough for you. You see a wide range and variety of different skateboarding or 360 flip styles, which is the front foot catch is a style, obviously. And so when someone learns how to 360 flip consistently, they can now go beyond that if they want to. Obviously, skateboarding is a very subjective thing, and it's all based off of preference on how tricks can be done and what tricks are ugly and what tricks are good or look nice or perfect. Even I mean, perfect is a description that's thrown around a lot, but it's realistically nothing's ever truly perfect. But we can always strive for perfection, right? So I bring this to you guys because I'm basically trying to give you guys a perspective on how to front foot catch a three flip, but describing it in a way that others fail to do. I feel like I'm doing here. So the main thing I want to compare this trick to is a monster flip, which is basically a completely vertical 360 pop shove it. Think of the most perfect impossible, which would wrap vertically perfect, like an impossible that goes straight up, comes around and down like that. Because it's a very difficult thing to do because it would have to be completely on like I said on the y-axis, it would be completely like here. It's completely vertical, and that's hard to do. Although I can say that I have kind of done that, and my impossibles tend to be more on that axis. It's hard to do. But a monster flip is basically just that. It's a pressure, like a straight pressure down, and then a shoving of the basically like a pressure toe movement going this way, but then it kicks out, and then the board will do a completely vertical three shove or a no-footed impossible in that sense, and then it will land on that. And the reason why I'm comparing these two tricks is because if you really want to perfectly catch your 360 flip with your front foot, you're gonna have to learn this pressured movement, which not a lot of people get, and it's a movement that comes with learning pressure flips, learning impossibles, and stuff like that. I'm not saying you have to learn an impossible or a pressure flip. Maybe front foot catching your three flip with that pressured foot movement is going to teach you or basically open up the door to pressure flips for you or impossibles even. But it's all about understanding that one little movement with the back foot because it's all in the back foot. The toe does a little bit of the flicking, but not a lot. Like the toe is just it's just there basically to just land where the board is gonna rotate so that it lands on the front foot. And if you've never seen a Felipe Gustavo 360 flip, I highly recommend you look that up and look at his back foot. His back foot will literally it'll pressure down and then it'll do this little toe give this little toe scoop. Not even a full kicking motion with his foot, just a little toe scoop in this general direction and then he'll kick out and you'll see that when he's three flipping, the board actually wraps around his front foot at the 90-degree mark, and then he catches it completely. And that's the three flip I always strive to try to perform. And it's difficult. It's hard for me as someone who wants to get a 360 flip perfectly, like Felipe Gustavo has them. I never really feel 100% satisfied with my three flips sometimes, but that's just the name of the game. But anyway, enough talk. I hope I've given you enough information that you can kind of think about it in a different way. But I'm also going to be performing some 360 flips. What I want to actually do is I want to see if I can do the monster flip because I haven't really done one in a while and it's hard to get consistent. I had them to the point where like they were just basically my 360 pop shove its, and any single time I would do them in a game of skate, I would just say, "Hey, just do a 360 pop shove it. Don't worry about the verticality of it." So anyway, I'm gonna try to do a monster flip, and then which will be of course slow mo, so you guys can see what's going on with the back foot and all that. And then I will attempt to do a 360 flip, and hopefully after a few of them, I'll have one that I'm satisfied with. So let's go. Nope. Now right there, it was too much of a horizontal scoop. I didn't implement the pressure down into scooping motion inward. That's the important part. It's an inward scooping motion. It is not a horizontal scooping motion where you scoop on kind of like this. It's inward this way. So I'm gonna try to imitate that. Not too bad, but not quite it either. Getting closer. Oh, that was kind of it right there. That was the one I was kind of looking for. More on the y-axis. Not, not quite. We want the most verticality we can get. Oh, that was it, but it was sketchy. We can do better. Nope. Maybe. All right. So I reviewed. Excuse me. Goddamn. It's really hot out. I reviewed the footage, and that was as y-axis as it. Well, not as y-axis as it gets, but it was. If I were to look at it on X to Y, probably be around here. So I've done actually like super vertical ones, which are the ones that I'm super proud of, but that one didn't look too bad. So we're gonna move on. Now hopefully we can do it with a 360 flip, and you can hopefully see what I mean about the pressured back foot movement. Very important to note. That one was good. Not quite. Yeah, we're gonna try to get more. All right, so I think that was the one. And hopefully you could see that motion, why I basically compared the first trick to the second trick. And hopefully that should kind of help you along, get some new information in that can help you with if you're trying to catch your front foot, catch a 3-flip front foot, and you're trying to do the back foot out. And that's my perspective on it. I don't look at tricks the same way as other people do a lot of the times. So, and I'm able to do certain tricks the way I like them, which I like to throw a lot of flair into my tricks if I can. So hopefully that helps, and I'll see you guys next time.